Right, brilliant. Hi, everybody. So, obviously, I'm Anna, and Sandy and Fiona from Lakes College, and our partners who are here as well, who you will see in a moment. And I'm just going to move my T-shirt down, my thingy down slightly so you can see my T-shirt and Sandy's T-shirt and Fiona's T-shirt, because we have got crisps on our T-shirts as well, you see. Hence, we weren't sharing the screen. Monster Munch, Walkers and Doritos there. So, we need to... what we're going to do is, do we need to pop the start slide on yet, Fiona, or should we just hang on? We'll just hang on. So we're at Lakes College and our partners who are here with us today. And as I say, you'll be introduced to those in a moment. And we have been investigating the online teaching of maths and what considerations we need in order to make a crisp delivery. So before we start showing you our data and our findings and our recommendations, we would just like you to sit back and enjoy our short movie.
So you've seen the three presenters and met us, but now we'd like to introduce you to everyone who took part in our Maths Action Research project. We couldn't have achieved what we did without their superb support and input. And you can meet a few of us face to face on this next slide. Do you recognise any of this from your own teaching and training?
My internet just went down. I'm Nanda from Carlisle College, and this is my favourite excuse from students. I can't see your screen.
I can't get in, my password's not working.
I can't see the link you sent. Oh, camera off.
I'll just let my dog out.
My password's locked.
You're on mute.
Sorry, can you hold on a sec? There's a parcel at the door.
Is this being recorded? No. Am I talking to myself? Hi, it's Barbara. Where do I find the work again?
My dad took the laptop. Can't do the work because I haven't got the laptop.
See, camera on? No. Camera off.
Okay, so here's a quick presentation overview. We're going to talk about, on a more serious note now, the aim of the project, obviously how COVID affected it, our research approach, what we did, how we worked with the data and some examples of the data, and then the most important bits that everybody needs to know is what did it tell us and so what are our recommendations based on that.
So here's our aim, and as you can see, our focus was on online learning technology, and we were looking particularly at how learners can experience mathematics in new ways. So this aim led to us coming up with the following key objectives. We wanted to explore what makes a crisp delivery and valuable learning experience when teaching mathematics online. And you can see here the 5 key areas that we wanted to focus on. So collaboration was number 1, and we wanted to look at the collaboration between teaching community, the learners, and the teachers and learners. And how does the role of the teacher in an online environment have to change and adapt to look at the different ways of teaching? Thirdly, we wanted to focus on how we could promote independent learning and a sense of confidence in learners in an online platform. And then what was needed to support initially teachers through targeted CPD, and therefore teachers having the confidence to be able to support learners. And finally, we wanted to see what different strategies we could use online that will promote peer learning and support.
So COVID, well, just so you know, for the purposes of this presentation and the data sharing, we're not disclosing the names of each of the colleges involved. We are using pseudonyms. You can see there with the initial 5 colleges that were involved, how each of them was working, because each college responded to the challenges of the COVID pandemic in slightly different ways in terms of teaching and learning. But then obviously everybody, by the time we got to January 2021, everybody was teaching online. So that's the journey we made through our data collection and how that delivery was going on during that period. You went a little bit too high. Great. Okay, so this is what we did. We split it into 3 interventions over a period of 5 months, a pilot activity, and then 2 interventions after that. And you can see those and read those yourselves on the diagram. I'm not going to read them to you. The first activity was a pilot because we were working across multiple organisations and delivery models, as you saw on the previous slide. And it all really sort of came together for us at activity 3 when lockdown reset the dial and 2 more colleges joined in our research, which was incredibly valuable and gave us some really rich data to go with what we already had from the other colleges and ourselves.
So here's some of the data that we collected. Take a minute to look at this slide. Notice the frustration coming through in the I poem from the teacher voice. I feel like I'm speaking into the void was a common theme and one I'm sure we've all experienced. Look at the word clouds of learners' responses and the strength of emotion in the negative side. Traumatic, stressful, mentally draining, a bit like now. Of maths, and we face a real barrier and hindrance to effective learning. On a lighter note, our favourite learner comment of all time was, I just can't do this, it's too hard. And in a spirit of peer support and collaboration, a fellow learner replies, just keep pressing next.
So, what is this data telling us? Well, initially, we had a lot of data and it was fantastic. It took quite a bit to get through. Everybody did their bit in the data analysis and we pulled it all together and 4 key themes emerged from those 7 colleges and 14 teachers across them. The 4 key themes that emerged were the importance of building those online relationships, the role of the teacher, the maths teacher, CPD and teacher confidence came through really strongly, and also learner confidence and independence. And what we've done is we've put it together in a flow chart there to show you what the data was kind of telling us. And we're looking at the role of the mathematics teacher. One of the things that came out quite strongly is that requires, or the role of the online mathematics teacher, should I say, requires knowledge of digital pedagogy. Now then,
digital pedagogy. So Fiona, can you sort of summarise what do we mean by that?
Well, digital pedagogy is really about the teachers making or being able to make conscious choices about how they select and apply technology to support teaching and learning. So it's being able to understand the tools that are available and having the confidence to use them. And the use of technology in this way is very much a threshold concept.
Okay, so in order to have that confidence and know what tool to use for the right job, CPD then, the correct CPD plays a really important part, doesn't it?
It does.
Our findings indicate that a mathematics teacher's personal self-confidence in their digital skills and mindset.
Check that they are on mute. That would be really helpful.
thank you.
Friends.
Okay, thank you. So carry on. So just to recap then, we're looking at the importance of CPD to support teacher confidence on digital learning. And the literature suggests that providing CPD is no guarantee of application, with some tutors in our research expressing they had received training on Teams and other applications but had actually not used them in their lessons. The majority of teachers who took part in the research often use technology as a delivery mechanism rather than an innovative tool with the potential to shape practice.
So what we're saying from this then is that the effective CPD, to be effective, needs dedicated time both to complete and to practice in order to get that teacher confidence and successful online delivery, and what we are calling digital pedagogy, selecting the right tool for the right job.
Absolutely.
For impact.
Absolutely. So it's an understanding as well that the role of the teacher in an online environment shifts slightly, and there was some really valuable data came through from some of our colleagues, which said that some colleagues felt that their role was divided between being a maths tutor and an IT facilitator, and typical responses included: it is interesting to see how the role of the teacher in an online setting slightly shifted to become an IT facilitator in addition to a maths teacher. And some other colleagues said that their role in an online environment involved more encouragement and praise than they would normally give in a classroom situation, and learners missed the support from the teacher they experienced in a face-to-face situation where they could simply put up their hands and get immediate help. And one final point that I think is really worth sharing in the role of the teacher was that in some cases there was evidence of the learning cycle fracturing after the doing phase, with tutors reporting on a lack of in-class feedback about how a learner had understood a topic and the limitations being able to quickly assess a learner's work online.
So we come to the so what thing, and it's really, in a nutshell here, we're not saying don't teach maths online, but what we're saying is that there are a lot of considerations that you need to make in order to teach maths online, not just selecting an application and then using it. There are lots of pedagogical things that you have to think about. And what we did was we put together our findings and our recommendations into a whole college approach and a teacher approach. So we split it that way. And again, I'm not going to read to you. You can see those on the screen for yourselves there. But we've put some things around online ground rules. Reflection is important. We use the Samir model, and our teachers used that when they were doing some of their reflections as well, when we were doing our data collection, and using that to reflect on your digital knowledge and practice. CPD is important, that dedicated time, providing it as a whole college through your SLT and using it as a teacher, whether it's timetabled, I don't know, everybody has different ways of doing things in different organisations, but using interactive delivery approaches is really important: icebreakers, breakout rooms, quizzes, chat functions, etc. So those are our recommendations for teaching maths online. Just on our last slide here, I handed all these recommendations to my 15-year-old daughter and asked her to make me a sketch note. I said, you're doing GCSE art, get on with it. Anyway, she's produced this rather good sketch note here with those recommendations in visual format, and we just wanted to share that with you, and also to say that this is also a great idea for learners to use online to consolidate their learning. So that's just our final slide there, and thank you for listening. Any questions?